Hey everybody. So this week we start Parshat Devarim, the beginning of the fifth and final book of the Torah. And basically the whole book is a speech that Moshe gives to the Jewish people before he passes on. It's at the end of the 40-year period over here where they're ready to go into Eretz Yisrael, ready to go into the land of Israel. Moshe is going to pass away very, very soon. And in his recount of things, and in this very lengthy speech, he talks about a certain point in history where there was a dramatic change. And he says, Lo uchal levadisa etchem. He says, I can no longer alone bear you. Eicha eseh levadi tarchechem. How can I alone take responsibility and bear all your differences, difficulties, disagreements, judgments with one another? And then we get, the Torah tells us that God helped him appoint all these judges to assist him. Now, Rashi points out something over here. He goes, wait a second. Moshe really couldn't do this? Moshe couldn't judge the Jewish people? He couldn't do this? We're talking about Moshe over here. Adam, look what he did. He took them out of Egypt. He split the sea. He brought down the man for them. And also he brought the slav. He brought food for them in the desert. Moshe, he's like Superman. He could do anything. He can't judge the Jewish people? So Rashi offers an answer. He says, well, when it comes to judging the Jewish people, there's tremendous repercussions in that if you get it wrong. And that's what he was getting at. I would suggest something different, a little bit different. You see, all the things that Rashi mentions, bringing them out of Egypt, splitting the sea, bringing down the mountain, all those things, they're all one-off dramatic events. Obviously, they're miraculous with the assistance of God, as opposed to judging people and their disagreements and their arguments and their claims against one another. That's a lot more intense. That's nitty-gritty. That's every day. That's many times a day. That's creating a society that functions where people could work with one another. You could be Superman. You could be a miracle worker. You could be the greatest of the greatest like Moshe. But to deal with people's difficulties day in and day out, where every party thinks they're 100% right, trying to get to a conclusion, trying to mediate between that, trying to figure out who's right and not have people angry all the time, that's a whole different ball of wax. Even the great Moshe realizes, I can't do that by myself. Split the sea, no problem. Bring manna, no problem. The everyday argumentation that people have with one another and mediating that and judging that, no. I need assistance. But there's a much more, I think, important lesson here. And that is, you see that Moshe recognized and realized he can't do this alone. As great as he was and as the miracles that he was able to do, he needed assistance. He wasn't afraid to ask for help. If the great Moshe wasn't afraid to ask for help, where does that leave you and me? For sure we need to learn from this. We can't be all things to all people. It's impossible. We're not experts in everything. Don't be afraid to ask for assistance. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. I'm not perfect. I need some help. And so I think this is one of the great lessons we need to learn from this short little part in this week's Torah portion, is if the great Moshe had no qualms and problems, needing help, and tells God, I need assistance, I can't do this all by myself, certainly that's the case for us. You know, as a person gets older, when you're young, you think you could do everything. You got tons of energy and you can do everything and you don't need anyone's help. But then as you get a little bit older and you slow down a little bit, then you realize, you know what? I need people's help. I have to have my kids do this. I have to have people in the shul help me with this. I can't do everything. And so just like Moshe wasn't able to do everything and he needed help and he needed assistance and he wasn't afraid to ask for it, so too. Don't be afraid to ask for help and assistance. Don't feel you got to be all things to all people. Have a good Shabbos.